scoop, read the teleprompter, smile on cue, boost your ratings. The red light has been my entire life. UCLA basketball coach John Wooden told his players, be more concerned about your character than your reputation, because your character is what you really are, while your reputation is what other people think you are. Well, I was a little slow in the character development process because I was in a career that was all about reputation. The better the reputation, the higher the ratings. And so I never really got into this character business. I loved that red light. There was a time, though, that I never thought the red light would go on. I was raised in Portland, Oregon, northeast side of town, where it was all black and white. And it was multiracial, very tough neighborhood. My dad was an alcoholic, and he walked out the door when I was 5, and my sister was 1. And my mom put us all through our early years of life before she remarried. She worked to feed us, to teach us values. She was a remarkable woman, an artist, by the way. And my sister, Cammie Maharis, I think, learned her fashion sense because Mom always made us wear Peter Pan collars, if you remember those, and little sweaters. We were very conservative young girls. I was a total jock in school. In the 8th grade, I played on the boys' baseball game at our elementary school. And early on, I realized that I couldn't spell. I think I have a miscue in my brain, and I can't spell and I can't do numbers very well. And so I thought, perfect career for me would be broadcasting, because no one would see what I wrote, and I wouldn't have to add and subtract. And so I went into the University of Oregon, getting a broadcast journalism scholarship from the University of Oregon and Oregon Association of Broadcasters. That's the only way I could get through school on that scholarship. And so I graduated in 1969. I was so confident I was going to get a job, because that's what my mom always said. You can do anything. Don't worry about it. Go forward. You'll succeed. I looked everywhere for a job in broadcast journalism, and you know, they didn't have women in 1969 on the air, and so it wasn't a real natural kind of a situation for some broad to walk into a newsroom. Oh, and there was a bird back there, sorry. And so I walked in to KOIN in Portland, Oregon, and asked for some employment, and the fellow said, you know, Linda, you come back after you've had more experience and a sex change operation. I'm serious. Can you imagine someone saying that today, right out the door? So sex change, well, I was very disappointed, obviously, and my grandma gave me a trip to Honolulu for a couple of weeks, and I got a job working at KITV because I walked in the door looking for the Hawaii Association of Broadcasters. There was Jim Mankey, who led it, who's also the news director at Channel 4, and gave me a job as the newsroom secretary. Just what I wanted. I would sweep the film off the floor, I would answer the phones, I would take Don Rockwell's dirty suits to the cleaners, and I would watch every one of those men in the newsroom whenever the red light went on. I would watch to see what they did. And it was truly a remarkable experience to learn from the likes of Al Michaels, who was our sports guy, and Ken Kashiwahara, who was a reporter, Chuck Henry, who was an anchor. Wonderful staff there. I was very fortunate. They put us together as a group and they called us the friendliest gang in town. And for me, because I was the first female in television news, they kind of dressed me up like a whore. And we had our pictures taken at Murphy's Bar and Grill, leaning against the bar. And they built a glass coffee table set for the newsroom. And they said, Linda, whenever the red light goes on, cross your legs a couple times during the news. I swear to God. Yeah, I know. Then I was lured over to KGMB by Bob Seavey, who had tried to keep me away from Channel 9 because he didn't think women had any place in television news. He did not trust the quality of our voice. He thought it was too hot, wasn't authoritative enough. And he understood that ratings were going up over at Channel 4, and the viewership was shifting, and so he caved. I was very happy about that. Actually, early on, viewers didn't know what to do with me. Here was this blonde Howley telling the locals what had happened in their town that day, and long hair, blonde, co-edy, and the phone would ring off the hook in the morning. One person would say, Linda, your roots are showing. Someone else would say, where did you get that blouse? And I'd tell people, tell them I got it at Liberty House or whatever, and they would call with totally different, nothing about the story content, just about looks and style and when I screwed up and that kind of thing. I became an interesting thing to look at in the morning, and that was about it. The phones ringing off the hook throughout the day I got used to. I wasn't used to the fact that Cease Have Tell heard one of the comments about the bags under my eyes and had, I don't know if you all remember Liebert Fernandez, very prominent physician in town, do an eye job for me. Now, can you imagine that happening today? My mother was so furious. She said, you lost the Dodge eyes. I did. They went right into some garbage. And that would never happen today. I wish, but it would never happen. So no more of this. I'd go out on stories. Reluctantly, the news director would hand me the notebook and send me out the door with the cameraman. One day there was one of the first ones, a car bombing at Holiday Mart, near Holiday Mart in the building next door. And George Cabral, who was a senior cameraman at the station, and this was one of my first stories, so I was a little nervous. Hey Linda, you know, don't worry about it, because you just go where the action is, but do what the cops tell you, and you follow me, I'll tell you what to do. I said, okay. And I had my pink muumuu with little puffy sleeves and my long hair, and I go to Holiday Mart, and there's all these people crushed, of course, up against the yellow marker, stay out ribbon that the cops had put there, and I walked right over that and crunched right through the glass, the evidence, and walked up to the car. That's where the guy was, and he was in the seat of the car. His foot had been blown off, and he was using the F word frequently. And I took my microphone and I went, how do you feel? That's the first and last time I ever asked that question in public. And my reputation as a blonde was secured then. Hair was always an issue. I would go on the air, and if I did a haircut or a permanent, you know, one afternoon I had to go to the Honolulu Zoo to cover Conga, the television-watching gorilla. I don't know if any of you remember him. He'd watch soap operas during the week and games on the weekend. And so I was on the weekend, so he was watching a football game, and we walked up to the cage, and my cameraman, who smoked a corncob pipe, got a little too close, and the gorilla grabbed the pipe and ate it. And Jack Throp was the zoo director there, and he was furious at my cameraman, not Conga. And that upset Conga, and Conga scooped up everything that was in the bottom of the cage and threw it at me right here. And just like in the cartoons, you know, Roadrunner, all that crap comes down on the face. That's exactly what it was like. So I'm there, then Throp got all freaked out because I was going to get tetanus, and so he ran me into the back of the zoo and washed my hair. Now it's about 4:30, and I'm on the air at 6. And we go zooming back to the TV station, and I've got this wet hair with God knows what's in it, and I pulled it back in a ponytail. And I got Tim Tyndall's tie that matched my outfit, and made a bow, and did the news. Well, the phone. Linda, you look like the winner of the Ruth Buzzy Lookalike Contest. You look like a mongoose facing the wind. That was a good one. So I had my ups and downs. I'd go out in public on the weekends, and people would begin to notice me. And I would go to Chunhoon Market. They're not there anymore, but it's where all the little Chinese ladies seem to shop in Nibuanu. And Kirk, when he would go there, they would ask him to reach for the hinodi rice on the top shelf. He figured that's why Howleys were put on this earth. And I went in one day without an undergarment up here, because it was a Saturday and I was just going to go down and get some bananas or something, and I walked into the store and all the Chinese ladies, they all panic out because here comes Linda and they all scream, "Nipple showing! Nipple showing!" like this, and they back up and were just astounded. So I reached into my purse and I pulled out my cuticle clippers. "Well, I'll take care of that." And I'm doing like this, they're screaming. Well, and it wouldn't have been so bad, but it was the frozen food section. And so everything was up there. So everywhere I went. But I also had my serious times where I did what I was hired to do, and that was to get scoops and build reputation. Gerald Ford, right after he became president, he came to town for December 7th, and all the TV stations, of course, everybody was there. All the local TV folks were on bleachers around the Hickam tarmac, and we were all given our little assigned places for our tripods. The Air Force 2 came first with all the reporters, who then went into a line of about 28, 30 cars that were parked ready for the day's journey through Honolulu. And we're all up here on the things. I'm thinking, this isn't right. So I go down the stairs and found some military fellow, and I said, you know, all the locals are up here, and all the national guys are going in this car caravan. Why can't I go? He said, Linda, you can go. I said, I can't? He said, yeah. Oh, yeah, just a minute. So I went running back.